going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard Podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. We got a great show planned for you guys this evening. 49ers lost to the Rams, 42-26. Could it have been closer? Could it have been more of a blowout? We'll get into it all. Could a trade have solved any of this on defense? Probably not, but we'll get into it all. Make sure you guys do us a solid. If you're watching on X, hit like and repost. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid. Hit like and subscribe, and hop in the chat. And share your thoughts. We want to hear it. And make sure you guys subscribe to both 49ers Hive and Nothing But Niners. Show some love. Now that I got that out of the way, Matt, how you doing tonight?
Oh, just watching an absolute debacle and, getting ready to come on the show and talk about it. So I'm good. How are you?
Same. Mike?
I am great. Tonight went pretty much how I expected it to go. I know there's a lot of disappointed people out there, but I mean, just what have y'all been watching if you thought anything different was going to happen on tonight's game? So I get it. You want to cheer for the Niners. Oh, I hope we win. I hope we win. But I always put it to everybody the same way. If you had to put your mortgage on the game, who are you betting on? All my money was on the Rams for this game. Just letting y'all know.
Just based on the way the last game went, McVay was embarrassed. Primetime game at home. His offense is what crapped the bed to end it. I could kind of tell already going into this week that he was going to have that extra oomph. The Rams were humming, playing two crappier teams and really getting that offense going prior to this week. But it is what it is. The 49ers just simply were outmatched to start this game. Before you know it, you look down, look up, it's 14-0. The 49ers, let me start with this. When they got the ball back after the Rams scored the touchdown on the opening drive, 10 plays, 64 yards. I think there was only like 1 third down that whole drive. They get the ball back and first down. I'm not going to go play by play, but Jennings 7-yard pass, McCaffrey 1-yard run, and then incomplete pass to Jennings. 4th and 2 at your own 43. Are any of you guys thinking that Kyle should have gone for it? Because he ended up punting here. Was that the right decision after you just watched the Rams march down the field? Matt, what do you think?
It is what it is, man. Again, I think Mike said it when this game went about how it was going to go. I thought the game plan for this game, at least defensively, was bad to begin with. So I don't know. I just,
What
it's
what
the same
series
offense
are you
that
asking
we
about?
saw.
First.
The punt, the first series.
3 and out.
Oh, the opening drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
4th
no, we
and
should've
2 at your
punted
own
that.
43.
Yeah, we should have punted that though. I do
Yeah,
think that.
I think the thinking is, you just watch the Rams essentially, that was just the Rams, like, essentially, I don't know what it take them 3 or 4 minutes to score the opening touchdown.
Yeah, 10
It
plays.
was quick. It was quick.
446.
It didn't take any time at all. So I think they're thinking like, all right, let's not give them the potential to get the ball in our territory plus territory again. And then you're definitely going to be down 14-0 super fast. And then you're digging yourself a hole. They ended up being in that hole anyway, but I don't think that you can take that risk early. If they were on if they were on the Rams 43, if you were in plus territory or you were like at a spot where you didn't feel maybe like Pinheiro could quite make it there, that's a different discussion. But in your own territory, you got to punt that away.
Fair. So they do punt, and the Rams get the ball back at their own 14, thinking, okay, we kind of pinned them deep, but they still 7 plays, 86 yards, and end with a touchdown. I'm trying to see how many third downs were here. There's not 1 third down this entire drive to where the 49ers even had an opportunity to get off the field. The last play on this drive, 2nd and 10 from the Niners 22. Stafford hit Puka Nacua short to the right for a 22-yard catch and run for the touchdown. So before you know it, it's 14-0. We're talking 10 minutes into the first quarter. It's 14-0. And the 49ers have had 3 plays for 9 yards. That's it. So then they get the ball back, and they put together a pretty good drive, even though first and 10, 3-yard run, and then 2nd and 7. Jennings, false start. Okay, 2nd and 12. Jones hits Kittle for 14 yards, and you're like, okay, we're moving. And then 1st and 10, Jones hits Jennings for another 14 yards. One of the penalties against the Rams, one of the few, of course, happened on this play, but it was declined, illegal use of hands. And then 1st and 10, incomplete pass. And then on 2nd and 10, we're all the way down to the Rams' 39-yard line. Jones hits Jennings for 13 yards to get down to the 26. But he never tucks this ball away, and he's fighting for an extra yard or two. And Nate Landman of the Rams comes out and just punches it out, and the Rams got it. Instead of it being 14-3 or maybe even 14-7, maybe they find that drive ends in the end zone. The Rams get the ball. And we know how it ends. They go 9 plays, 59 yards, and get another touchdown, 21-0. Mike, is it just because of how the offseason went, or does Llewellyn Jennings seem to have these types of plays almost once a game this season? Am I like biased for thinking that?
No, you're not biased. It's actually more than once a game. Like he goes through these stretches this season. Now the reason behind it, I'll never be able to tell you. But what I don't like is how Kyle Shanahan manages him since we've acquired Kendrick Bourne, right? It's like one guy gets all the plays in one half, the other guy comes on the second half, and then he mixes it up. How about this, Kyle? Mix them up early in the game and just continue to go back and forth. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Like when Kyle gets Jennings' brain, that's it. And there's no other, like – There's nothing else to see, and we're going to talk about it later on. There's some more plays going into the end of the half here where it's just focused on Jennings, and you just aren't thinking, right? And Kyle is giving that information to his backup quarterback. The backup quarterbacks, what they do is whatever Kyle says at the first read, if they think they can make that play, they do it. And so it was very, very evident at the end there. I don't like that Kyle just gets Llewellyn Jennings' brain. Period. I don't care what drive it is. I don't care what down it is. I mean, he even got a touchdown. I was like, yeah, but so what? Like that's how I felt. You know what I mean? It was like, dude, like you don't have to force it to him. There are other good players on this offense in particular, right? The defense is the weak side. When I say weak, I'm talking about if you have a strength and you have a weakness between offense and defense, the defense is the weak side. We have enough help on the offensive side of the ball where you don't have to rely on just one or two people. I'm sorry, but you don't have to do that. So I chalk that up to Kyle just not being open-minded enough in that situation. Just stop force-feeding this guy. Now, could he have – Mike, it's not his fault that he didn't tuck the ball and protect it and all that. That is true. But Llewellyn Jennings' first 5 impressions of this game was a drop pass, a penalty, a reception, followed by a reception, and on that same play, a fumble. Those can't be any starter's first 5 impressions on the game, and you continue to feed them the entire remainder of that second half. Like it just that's not how it should be. I'm sorry, it shouldn't be. And so I was very, very upset after that fumble, and I was disappointed with Kyle more than anybody else, believe it or not.
And it kind of seems like, obviously, we know the quarterback is like a translation of Kyle on the field. I don't know what it is that I'm looking for, but you know what I mean, like. He implements what Kyle wants to see, like you said.
He's an extension of
Thank
Kyle.
you, an extent. Yeah, perfect word, extension. And it kind of seems like Mac gets that way too, where he thinks Llewellyn Jennings is like Megatron or Jerry Rice at his prime, and he's double, triple covered. He's still throwing that ball to him for some reason, and we saw it come back to bite them later. But Matt, I don't know if you had any thoughts on this play. It was just really back-breaking play where the 49ers could have cut it to a 1-score lead.
Sure, I don't know. I like. Is the fumble unfortunate? Sure. But at the same time, like it was a reception first. So to me, if it's a catch, then who cares? And I don't know that I necessarily agree that Kyle gets like Llewellyn Jennings' brain. I think it just ends up working out that way because in comparison to whatever else is on the roster, like it's not, it's not like Jennings, obviously has taken a step back. We obviously know that, but it's not like Jennings was like the leading receiver today. George Kittle was. George Kittle had 9 catches. You know what I mean? So like, McCaffrey had 8 catches as opposed to Jennings had 6. To me, I just thought it was a lot of dink and dunk. That was the offense to me. There wasn't a lot of, and that's been the story with Mac Jones. And my biggest criticism of the offense is there's no explosive plays. But again, who are the explosive players? I don't know. I'm looking down the list and I'm seeing 9 different people caught a pass from Mac Jones today. So I can't really say he has brain for one guy or Kyle has, just a game plan for one guy when you have 9 different people catching the ball. That just doesn't vibe with me. And I get it. You want to get the ball to your best players. And out of that wide receiver core, unfortunately, Jennings is the best player, but he's the worst best player of a position group that you could possibly have in the NFL.
So I hear you, and I accept that, right? I do. But what name is missing on there? Where was Watkins in this game? Right? Like it's like Kendrick Bourne, only one reception all game long, right? Like, so what I'm saying is the route in particular that Jennings was asked to run on that specific play, Kendrick Bourne could have run that route. Like, they're putting him in that position to be the guy. And on that same exact play, when they show it from the quarterback's perspective, like behind the quarterback, you had Robbins, what's his name? Yeah, Demarcus Robinson with his hand up. He had beat his guy. That was a touchdown. Yeah. But when I say that, going back to Zach's point, that the quarterback, the backup in particular, becomes an extension of Kyle Shanahan, I'm telling you guys that when it's a backup or a replacement level guy, Kyle tells them, this is the first read. If it's not there, you take the check down. I don't think that Mac Jones even had I'm not going to say he didn't have the option because he's throwing the ball. I don't think Mac Jones had the grace to even look outside of the first read or the check down because Robinson was right behind him with his hand up. He had beat his guy. That's a touchdown. And it's like, how don't you see him? He was directly behind Jennings on that interception play. He was directly behind him. How didn't you see it? And he had his guy beat by 3 or 4 yards. And so I don't know, man. It's just, you got to stop coddling these quarterbacks. And that's what we do with the replacement level guys.
Well, I don't even know if it's that. I don't even know if it's coddling. My impression of it is you don't want him to get past the first 2 reads because that offensive line is not going to hold up. And they've been getting smashed. Both quarterbacks have been smashed this entire season. So you want to get the ball out quick. And in that situation, I think you look to the sticks. And then if you have time, look for something else. And you're not going to get past your first couple of reads. But I don't know. It's easy to sit here, right, and see what we see on TV and be like, oh, this definitely was for this guy without knowing what the rest of the play was. And so, like, it's hard to know exactly what the play called for. Where was Jennings in the progression? Do we actually know, or do we just assume we know? That's something that we got to be cognizant of too, to call it like it is. But I'm of the opinion, I don't know, we can get to it at some point or another. I have the quarterback thing figured out, so we can keep going through the game, and I can give you the quarterback thing later. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily Jennings' brain. And in terms of Watkins, I don't know. Of course, we'd love to see the rookie, but rookies don't play in this offense, and it's not unique to Watkins. You know what I mean? It's not.
No, that's true. That's true. But that goes back to coaching and play calling, if I'm being honest with you. But I do want to say this before we continue with the play-by-play breakdown or anything like that. I want to go ahead and get this out the way because I think it's going to be very important. I see the comments here. Kyle Shanahan is still Coach of the Year candidate in my book, with a bullet. He's still at the top. We're not going to win them all. We're definitely not going to win all the division games with the beat-up roster that we have. So let's just get that out the way right now. Could Kyle have called a better game? Absolutely, and he's going to go back and he's going to reflect. And when he comes back on Monday on the play call, on the phone call, he's going to share that, right? But I don't think that we need to move on from Kyle Shanahan based off of this game. I don't think that the roster is bad, and I still think the Niners win more than 10 games this season. So let me just go ahead and put that out there and get that out of the way completely before we continue this episode.
Yeah. I got to disagree with you that it wasn't a game call from Shanahan. They had 400 yards of offense and 26 points. Like in any other week, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I can't call that a bad game. To me, that's a good game.
6.6 yards. I'll come back to it. I promise you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
So
the offense to me was not the problem side of the ball today.
Right. That first drive sucked. But that wasn't a play calling drive. That was an execution problem where they couldn't get first down.
Yeah, they knew the play is going in. Right. They should have executed better.
Could have gotten anything going on that first drive and not immediately have gone 3 and out. They spotted the Rams 14-0 lead just like that. I mean, it was exact opposite of the Thursday night game 4 or 5 weeks ago where the Niners were up 14-0 before the Rams even blinked. But I think what was more frustrating to me is that tuck the fucking ball, Jennings. Like, he's fighting for these extra yards, and the ball is like, not even tucked. It's like, how many times have we seen this? And Landman was out there literally punching every single ball he got to, trying to, be like Fred Warner or Tillman out there and peanut punch. But they got one. And that killed that promising second drive. And like I said, the Rams wasted no time, went down the field, got another touchdown. So now it's 21-0 before you look up. And there's 13:41 in the second quarter. So just start the second quarter. And the Niners go on another promising drive. 7-yard pass, 5-yard run, 2-yard run on 2nd and 8. Jones hits Kittle for 20 yards. 1st and 10. Brian Robinson, who looked great today, 11-yard run. 1st and 10. Brian Robinson, 2-yard run. McCaffrey, 5-yard reception. On 3rd and 3, McCaffrey gets 2 yards. And it's 4th and 1 at the Rams 11, down 21-0. And they try like a stretch play to the right, and it gets blown up. The 49ers run blocking was atrocious. Or to the left, excuse me, not to the right. They tried going behind Trent. Matt, you talked about the offensive line earlier. Pass blocking, I thought they actually did a solid job. Mac Jones didn't get sacked once. I think he got hit a couple of times, one of which was kind of questionable, should have been a flag in my opinion. But I thought they did a much better job compared to that Thursday night game. But the run blocking, especially in the first half, was bad. And that play, 4th and 1, down 21-0, and they get stuffed and turn the ball over on downs. I mean, those two drives right there are points. Like, they both were already in Rams territory. This was down to the 11-yard line. It could have been 16-14, or 6-14, excuse me. Maybe it's even 14-14. Maybe I'm being too hopeful there, but I do think they at least get 2 field goals out of those. But 2 of the first 3 drives ended turnovers. You're probably not going to win that game when the opposing offense is red hot, going down the field, can't be stopped at all. So it's just unfortunate. I think both of you guys would agree going for it was the right call. Were either of you guys surprised that they didn't do a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1 when Mac has been pretty successful?
That's where I got discouraged. Like, dude, what the hell are you doing there? That was the run play to McCaffrey outside, right? So you have Trent and you have 2 linebackers on the left. But this is what killed me the most on that play in particular. They had George Kittle on the inside and Tungus on the outside. If George Kittle's your best blocking tight end, why isn't he the one setting the edge? Why'd you have him inside? Because Tungus had him at first, but then he let him go, and then that was the guy that made the tackle. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? I just didn't understand how he was possibly making that decision there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it.
It was frustrating. Matt, I don't know if you have any thoughts. You want me to move on? I could move on if so.
We'll keep going. Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, turnover on downs, 4th and 1 down to the Rams 11. And then the Niners actually got a 3 and out. They were able to...
Farrell, not Tungus. My apologies.
Yeah, it was Farrell. I was going to say, I think it was Farrell. So then the Rams, stuffed CJ West. Great run stuff on the first down. 2nd and 10. Again, Blake Corum stuffed for a -1 yards. Bethune and Beal teamed up for that one. And then on 3rd and 11, Niners flagged for too many men on the field, which happened another time later on. Could have happened a third time, but I think they called a timeout, if I remember correctly. So then it turns into 3rd and 6, but the pressure forced Matt Stafford to throw kind of an errant pass to Ferguson, who was open. I mean, he had him open probably about 15 yards down the field, but pass falls incomplete. 49ers actually force a punt, which... You guys are going to laugh. This was the only punt they forced all day. The only punt with 6:57 left in the second quarter.
There were 2. There were 2 punts.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, the next drive was also a punt. You're right.
Yeah.
Correct. So then the Niners get the ball back with 6:44 left in the second quarter. And if they could put together something here, they get the ball to start the third. On 2nd down, 11-yard pass to Jennings. 1-yard run sets up 2nd and 9, 4-yard run by Robinson. And then on 3rd and 5, Jones hits Kittle for 3 yards. This is the play where Cameron Curl kind of broke it up afterwards. They ruled the Rams challenged it, but it was upheld. Would have been 4th down either way. And on 4th and 2, Jones found Kittle for 11 yards. And again, Cameron Curl was all over Kittle prior to the pass being thrown. They actually did call pass interference, but it was declined since the 49ers picked up the first down. And then one play later, Jones hit Jennings for 6 yards for the touchdown. And the 49ers finally get on the board with 3:15 left in the second quarter, 21-7. And like Matt said, they did force a punt. because the Rams' next drive was 7 plays, 29 yards, and it ended in a punt.
Wait, what were
Yes.
those 7 plays? This is crucial.
I can go over them. So
Watch
first
this.
down, 1st and 10, Kyron Williams, 7-yard run. 2nd and 3, Stafford was actually sacked by Kalia Davis and Keon White. 3rd and 8, Stafford hits
Completed
Devontae Adams for
pass.
15 yards.
First down.
1st and 10, Stafford hit Devontae Adams for 12 yards. Stafford incomplete deep to Adams, and I think it was Green that had really good coverage there.
Yeah.
And then 2nd and 10, Stafford incomplete short right to Mumpfield. 3rd and 10, Stafford incomplete again to Mumpfield. So they were moving the ball, but then they got stuffed 3 incomplete passes in a row.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to point that out is because those 2 drives in particular, they were up 21-0. Or what, and
20,
then 21-7. So it goes 21-0, run. We run, pass. We force the punt. Then the next play, it's like, all right, Matt Stafford's out of rhythm because they didn't let him throw. Like everyone's like, oh, the Niners defense is waking up. No. They had a 3-score lead, guys. They were going to run the ball and just, you got a 3-score lead. That's what you're supposed to do is run the ball. Don't sit there and credit and say the Niners defense made adjustments and all that. They didn't. They absolutely did not. And so what they did was on the very next drive, which still ended up being a punt, to thank you for breaking that down, Matt Stafford just had to get back in the rhythm, so that's what they did there. It's when they took the ball out of Matt Stafford's hands and just ran the ball because of how comfortable their lead was, the Niners were able to stop some of those run plays. They were able to, force the punt. After they stopped that, it was over. Once they said, all right, Matt, we can pass on 1st down and 2nd down, then it was right back to the same old. So, no, there were no adjustments by the defense all game long. They continue to let – never mind. We'll get to it later. But, no, I just don't want people to sit here and think that the Niners made adjustments or the defense looked better or anything like that. No, the Rams are just like, hey, we got a comfortable lead. We can run the ball over and over here and then try to pass on 3rd down, so we're not giving up.
I actually disagree with you. I thought that they were trying to go for the kill shot. They had 2 or 3 deep shots attempted that just didn't work out on that drive. And I thought they were trying to go get one more touchdown before the half. But I see what you mean, Mike. They were kind of handing it off, and it seemed like they were trying to getting a mix of both, where it's like, well, maybe we'll play it safe and we'll just get some yards on the ground and go into halftime. But hey, just in case they're like falling asleep, let's chuck one deep and see if Devontae Adams could get one. Just checking. So they do get the stop. The Niners get the ball with 1 minute and 6 seconds left in the half. Again, they get the ball to start the 3rd. So I'm thinking, holy shit, this could be like the Niners classic lapping where they could score here and then score again to start the 3rd. And the 2-minute drive was promising. Jones hit Jennings for 22 yards. Jones hit Robinson for another 12 yards. 1st down, incomplete pass. And then on 2nd down, delay of game. And I think this was because Demarcus Robinson went deep on the play prior, which he was open on that Jones missed. He's open, like Mike said, waving his hand deep down the field for the touchdown. And it takes some time when you got to come all the way back when you're 50 yards down the field. So Mac Jones just lost sight of the play clock, unfortunately, delay a game. And that kind of ruined all of the rhythm that this drive had. 2nd and 15, incomplete pass to Jennings. 3rd and 15, Jones hits Kittle, but it's only for 8 yards, and they have to punt. Thomas Morstead punts down to the 8-yard line, and the Rams took a knee and went at a half up 14 points, 21-7. Mike, like you said, how do you miss that? How do you miss? And we've seen Mac be aggressive, like at the Cardinals game when he hit Ricky on 4th and 1 deep down the field. We know he can throw it deep. He actually throws a really nice deep ball. Do you think he just missed it? Do you think that was something that wasn't even on his mind? I know you talked earlier about Kyle Shanahan kind of being an extension of him, and Matt, you said like that's not his 1st or 2nd read possibly. But I feel like you got to audible when you see like that's 7 points right there. If he could put it on, Demarcus Robinson, and instead it's Nick.
I still think that's easy to say in the heat of the moment. Once the play's already started, it's easy to say, oh yeah, we see it on replay, but in the moment, that's hard to see,
I
especially
agree.
if that's not where you're working towards. Yeah, it would be nice, but that's not always how it goes. So I don't know. That's hard to call. Ideally, it would be great if he could see that guy, but yeah.
It just seems like, and maybe I'm obviously biased, I'm a Niners fan. It seems like other teams have no problem seeing that. Like if that was Matt Stafford, and again, I'm not comparing Mac Jones to Matt Stafford. I understand. It's a ton of experience. Matt Stafford, Super Bowl champ. But it's like these other quarterbacks that are able to elevate their offense to the next level do see that and do take a shot deep because they see that the defense fell asleep.
They
or
also
whatever
have
it is.
better offensive lines than the 49ers do.
Fair. I mean, yeah, fair. Mike, I don't know if you had any thoughts on this. We can go into the third quarter.
No, we can keep it rolling. I
Gotcha.
did a halftime show and I highlighted how I just didn't like the play selection in these moments. And like the truth of the matter is this defense was just far too soft, right? I mean, we had the Rams at like a 3rd and 8 at some point or something like that, and while we're at 3rd and 8, the defenders are lined up 5 to 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. They snap the ball and we're turning and running, not even just backpedaling. We turn to run. It's like, dude, what are you guys doing? Like, and this was a Robert Saleh defensive scheme issue. Less about the actual players out there and more about the scheme. And no one's talking about it. No one's talking about it, right? Like, how many times do we
Mike,
see?
I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to get to it if we're going to continue the play-by-play, right? But there were plays where it was like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4, and we're not jamming anybody. We're just backing. Like, what are we doing? You have the 5-yard cushion where you're literally allowed to knock someone off their feet if you want to, and we don't do it. Like, Robert Saleh is playing this soft-ass play-calling style, and it's going to get us killed against the upper echelon of NFL offenses, and that is what Sean McVay, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and Matt Stafford are going to bring to the table every single time. So if you're not willing to do what it takes to disrupt those plays, you're going to get picked apart.
Yeah, and I think we saw that later on. I mean, we saw it plenty of times, but in the end zone, when the Niners made it a 1-score game later on, and Devontae Adams, you have Malik Mustafa on him for whatever reason, immediate mismatch. And instead of jamming him at the line, trying even to disrupt the timing a little bit, Malik Mustafa lets him get a free release, and then his feet get tangled up, and Devontae Adams is wide open in the corner for the end zone for the touchdown. I don't understand why they're not taught to press and jam at the line. Your defensive line can't get pressure, right? But let's allow these receivers free releases to where they don't have to, the timing is on perfectly. Even if the defensive line does get pressure, the receivers are wide open anyway. It's frustrating, man. I really don't know what the answer is this year because there's no one that's going to save this team. And this is why I kind of pushed back on X today, where it's like, tell me which trade would have changed this outcome today. Which trade does giving up a 5 firsts for Myles Garrett or Quinnen Williams, whatever trade that the Cowboys had to give up a 2nd and a 1st, does that change that? Like, maybe they score 1 less touchdown. Maybe the Niners lose by 9 instead of 16. But I really don't see it. There's just so many injuries to overcome. Unless you're talking 3 trades, I don't see it. So it's unfortunate, but that's where they are. You just can't overcome all of these injuries week after week, and that's why we're seeing. I saw Ari, whatever, for the My Sports Update guy. The last 8 games: win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. That's an inconsistent team, and that's what the Niners are. Unfortunately, like they're good enough to beat poorer teams, less talented teams like the Giants, like the Falcons, like the Cardinals. But when they go up against these good teams, and I'm saying this even though they split, but they did have Bosa and Fred for the first matchup, or they had Fred at least for the first matchup with the Rams. But when you spot them 14 points, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So they go into half down 14, 21-7. We got a super chat from Sean. Solid players, not good, but soft shit D. Soft shit D lame. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but
yeah, no, that's exactly what it is, man. I think more of this game was on the defense. If I had to put the blame anywhere, there's 3 phases of the game. I'm putting 90% of this game on the
100%.
defense. So I don't know how anybody can disagree with this. Like Matt said to start the show, we had almost 400 yards of offense, right? And that's with 7 penalties for the Niners and none against the Rams all game long. And the one time that they called a penalty against the Rams, they overturned that bullshit.
It was
right?
offsetting, yeah.
Yeah, come on. Like, what are we really talking about here? Like, you're not going to win games like that. You got 2 turnovers, no penalties against the other team, and you spotted them 21. It was 21-0.
True.
Let's remember,
true.
like, we spotted them 21. You're not going to win that game. There's nothing you can do in that situation except get better on defense, and we refuse to get better on defense. I mean, Gifford needs to go. I don't care what you think of Nick Martin. I don't care what you think of Nick Martin. Put him out there. That
can't be
4.4
worse.
speed. It's not fucking possible. Get Gifford off the fucking field. The campaign starts right now in this very moment. We are 30 minutes and 54 seconds into this episode, and I will continue to do this all week long. It is time for Nick Martin to get some reps out there. Get Gifford off the fucking field. I don't care who disagrees. I'm not here to disagree or argue with anybody. I have seen enough. Gifford is a liability. Get him out. Get him out. Like the one play that looked like it might have been positive in favor of Gifford was only because the receiver dropped the ball. You know what the Rams did 3 plays later? They went right back to the same fucking matchup, and it was a huge play. Get him off the fucking field. Everybody saw it coming except Robert Saleh. Like, Saleh,
They picked on him.
wake up.
They picked on Gifford play after play after play after play. So I've talked about this on the show, but I need to get your guys', I have to say this again because it pissed me off, and it was evident today. When they've asked Saleh before, what is Nick Martin doing or not doing to where he can't get on the field, because he wasn't even active up until Fred got hurt. And then once Fred got hurt, then, okay, now he's active on game days. He was a healthy scratch for the first 6 weeks of the season. So Robert Saleh said, well, the guys ahead of him play special teams. Luke Gifford and Stone Blanton are really good special teamers, and you got to find your way on special teams.
And keep them on fucking special teams.
Right, before you can get on to defense. How the fuck does running up and down the field when you're kicking the ball off translate to being good enough to play coverage, pass coverage, run coverage, blitzing?
All right.
It doesn't make any sense to me, and it's so frustrating.
We got to get through this play-by-play so we can talk about the nuts and bolts of this, because we got to get down to brass tacks.
All right, I mean, we don't
My man Matt's ready to cook. He's ready to cook,
Yes.
man. Fuck it, man. We lost the game, all right? So the Niners march up and down the field. We lose the game. All right, let's go, man.
Touchdown drive by the Niners to open the third quarter, which was a nice drive. Ends in a Brian Robinson grown man drive. They ran the ball down the Rams' throat on this drive, run after run after run. And this was a Brian Robinson drive, by the way. Grown man shit. What's up, Mike?
5.7 to carry at this point for Robinson versus Christian McCaffrey, 2 yards a carry. Mix it up. They're not expecting it. Why won't we continue doing it? Beats the fuck out of me. And I'm not saying get Christian McCaffrey off the field. I'm saying mix it up a little bit.
Play them both at the same time. I don't know why we can't do that.
I think they call different run plays for Brian Robinson. They call the plays different than they do for Christian McCaffrey too. So, but I do think that there is a level of predictability. I mean, they put a stat up on the board for Fox that, in terms of scrimmage yards, Christian McCaffrey's like 37% of the 49ers output, which is like, that's relying on, we went from having Debo eyes to having CMC eyes, and that's like the whole thing. And that's where I think Kyle Shanahan deserves the most criticism, is just leaning on one guy too much. When you were talking about Juwan Jennings earlier, I was just like, man, that's really Christian McCaffrey, who's like a much better player than Jennings, but it's the same thing that they had with Debo last year, where it just feels like the offense is stalling because you're just force feeding it to one guy. It's like, oh, Christian hasn't touched the ball in 2 snaps. I better get it to him. It's crazy. So anyway, let's get through the rest of these.
I'll wrap up quickly. Drive ends in a touchdown, and it's a 1-score game. The Niners get it 21-14, but the Rams go 12 plays, 64 yards, marching right down the field again through the air. And it ends. This is the touchdown to Devontae Adams I was talking about, where Malik Mustafa just had no chance in coverage. And then the 49ers start the fourth quarter with another touchdown, get it to 1 score again. 5-yard run, 6-yard pass, 19-yard pass, 6-yard pass, 4-yard run, 5-yard run. And it ends with a 9-yard touchdown pass to Luke Farrell. This was a great play by Mac Jones. I mean, the guy does not have much mobility, but on this play, he's, evading the pressure, kept his eyes open downfield, found Luke Farrell, who was able to walk into the end zone. It kind of reminded me of Brock Purdy's, I want to say, first touchdown to Kyle Juszczyk versus the Dolphins a couple years back, but it was impressive. So the Niners cut it to 1 score, but the extra point is blocked. So it's an 8-point game, 28-20. And then the Rams, again, 5 plays, 64 yards, touchdown. The Niners get the ball back down 15. It's 35-20 at this point. And they go 4 plays, and on 4th and 4, Jones goes for Kittle, who was interfered with, but the refs call some BS penalty where Jones wasn't set. Kittle wasn't set. It was complete BS. They showed the replay. Even Blandino said, I don't like this. It's very technical, and he was completely set. So they did offsetting penalties. And the next play, Jones had McCaffrey, but he took a second too long to get the ball there, and Emmanuel Forbes picks it off. to which the Rams then go 6 plays, 38 yards for a touchdown. Matt Stafford hits Colby Parkinson. If I remember correctly, this is the play where they had him covered, but Lenore maybe came off of, maybe I'm getting my touchdowns mixed up since they scored so fucking many today against the Niners defense. Niners get the ball, 7 plays, 65 yards, 9-yard pass, 4-yard pass, 4-yard pass, and then on 3rd and 7, Jones hits Kittle in the left flat, who great effort to stretch the ball forward for the touchdown. And they're cutting it as much as they can, 42-16. They went for 2, and they did not get it. It was intercepted, and then 42-16, end of the game. 7 plays. Niners couldn't get off the field. Rams ended it with a knee. That's the final game. Final of the game. They lost by 16 points. 2 turnovers to start the game by the 49ers offense. 1 on downs, 1 fumble. It is what it is. Matt, after the game, Kyle Shanahan was asked about Brock Purdy, and he said he could have gone today, or could have been the backup today, I should say, but I made the decision to hold him out. And then he was asked, isn't it a thing where he's not going to be 100% all year, and it's just a matter of when you deem it okay for him to play, pretty much? And it seemed like Kyle kind of agreed with that. I don't have his exact words, but he was like, pretty much, it's a matter of how close to 100% we could get him to. They've been saying for weeks now, hopefully we're expecting him back next week. What are your thoughts on this quarterback, I don't want to say battle, but position for the 49ers? Purdy has not been healthy enough to play.
Yeah.
Mac Jones has played above average. I mean, this is the number 1 rated defense, and he was 33 for 39, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick today. So what are your thoughts on this?
I finally reached my decision about quarterback in the 49ers offense. Do you guys remember Mike Shanahan with the Broncos? And how it didn't matter who he put it at running back, they would have like 1,200 yards. It was Clinton Portis. It was Mike Anderson. It was, this guy, that guy, the other. I think that's quarterback for the 49ers. I don't think it really matters. Right. I don't think it matters unless you're getting somebody with elite traits. If you have anything less than one of the upper echelon quarterbacks, it literally doesn't matter unless you're below replacement level. If you're even average, you're going to succeed in this offense for a time. That's just the way that it is. And so, I'm not going to count other people's money. I'm not going to say that they shouldn't have paid Brock Purdy because that's just what the market is. And if that's your dude or whatever. But I don't think the separation between Brock and Mac is so much that like it really matters either way. I don't care who plays quarterback for the 49ers anymore. I really don't. It does not matter either way. Doesn't matter.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Previously, what was your take on the quarterback position? Like prior to today's game, what was your take?
Prior to today's take, I've been kind of leaning towards that, but just the mobility aspect is Brock, I would say Brock Purdy. But here's the thing: the further you get in this offense, and the more Kyle trusts you, the worse you play. And we've seen it with Jimmy Garoppolo. We saw it with
ignorance.
We saw it with Noodle Arm Nick. We saw it with everybody from Brian Hoyer didn't really play a ton, but we saw it with Hoyer. We saw it with CJ Beathard. We've seen it with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Nick Mullins, Jimmy Garoppolo. Come on. The list goes on and on and on.
We've seen it with Brock Purdy, who's had a fall off. Now we're seeing it with Mac Jones, who's playing really well. And Mac Jones was a starting quarterback in this league. Mac Jones has a Pro Bowl under his belt. It's not like he's, again, once you get down to a certain level, like Josh Johnson, that's where you're going to have a massive problem. And even to a certain extent, those original guys, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, you're going to have a problem there because the team wasn't good. Those guys aren't very good. But there was a certain level that you could attain with that. And I think that, if you are, what's the watermark that we can use? I mean, if you're, who's a good backup in this league? If you're like Andy Dalton or above, like current day Andy Dalton or above in this offense, and you're not one of the 5 elite guys, you can run this offense, and you're not going to notice a huge drop off one way or another. So I don't think the quarterback position matters anymore. And I don't think that Brock Purdy is going to be the quarterback of the 49ers in 3 years. He's just not going to be here anymore. That's just how it is. Because I don't think that he can separate himself. And I think that they're going to fall in love.
Bitch.
He's not going to justify the contract. He can't. And it's not going to matter one way or another. So they're either going to decide to keep paying him or they're going to use the out in 3 years to get him out of here. And who cares? Who cares? Is he that much better than Mac Jones? I don't think so. I think it's like Mike Shanahan with running backs. That's Kyle Shanahan with quarterbacks.
And this goes back to what I said a couple of weeks ago. I think I came to this same revelation just 2 weeks earlier than you. That's all. I said that, the ignorance of the quarterback position is what makes us fall in love with them. And the more that they know, they regress more because they understand how the offense is supposed to work and they think a little bit longer. It causes that second more of hesitation, and that second is behind a bad offensive line, right? If that second was behind a good offensive line, then we could take more advantage of those deep shots, right? Then all of a sudden we can do a couple of more things that make us go over the hump. That hump, no one's gone over it. No one's gone over it, right? And so it's like you're a replacement level player until you're not, and we have to pay you. Then we get someone else in here, and they become that replacement level player, and then we all fall in love with them. It's the same thing that we've been seeing over and over. So welcome to the club.
If you're not a Hall of Famer, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
offense, right.
You're either a superstar or you're just a player.
Right. If you gave him Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or one of those top guys, then yeah, by all means, you're gonna see some shit, right? Like the offense is gonna be elevated, it's gonna be unlocked. Kyle Shanahan's gonna be like, hell yeah, buddy, let me get my bag for this. But all of these which quarterback doesn't have limitation? Like Brock Purdy puts the ball in danger despite not having the arm to do so. Again, I said this at the beginning of the season after the Seattle game. He's trying to be a gunslinger with a water pistol for an arm. He's an airsoft gun for an arm. You know what I mean? And he's going to put it in trouble. He will go off schedule, which is great, and he has explosives, but also he has a propensity for putting the ball at risk. And then Mac Jones is just limited, not very athletic. Maybe has a slightly stronger arm than Purdy, but I would say processing is maybe a little worse. But like within margin of error, it's not like I can't really deny the fact that there's no drop off between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones minus the explosive plays. And that's literally it. And that might just be because all the good playmakers are injured.
And so to Matt's point, I feel like we have to see this offense with a great quarterback, right? And we just haven't seen that. Like they just haven't found one. Everybody, I don't care if it's Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, who else has got a big contract here? Garoppolo. I don't care which one of those guys. They're all replacement level players. They're all replacement level quarterbacks in particular, right? So when I was going into the offseason, I was like, oh man, the Niners should really try to get Daniel Jones. Everybody looked at me like I was fucking crazy. Right? Like the Niners would still be 6-3 with Daniel Jones, right? Like he's not a phenomenal guy, but he's got a bigger arm and he likes to run a little bit more. He's a little bit more athletic than Brock Purdy, right? But he makes worse decisions than Brock Purdy. So it's give and take everywhere you go. You take a half a step forward in one little section, you take a half a step backwards in another. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to level itself out.
Put that comment by Billy P back up. False, dude. Kyle Shanahan's an excellent quarterback developer. That's why all these replacement level guys are good. And by the way, I have to take back the fact that I'm calling Sam Darnold a fucking pumpkin because ever since he came to San Francisco and Kyle gave him a new lease on life, he's actually been really good. And by the way, Sam Darnold would be the best quarterback that the 49ers have had in this regime.
That's it.
Better arm than Mac Jones. Better deep ball ability than Mac Jones. As much, maybe not quite as much athleticism as Purdy, but like escapable like Purdy, right? Like maybe the decision making is a question, but you can't look at what he did last year in Minnesota and this year. Now he's got two different teams since leaving here where he's looked good.
Yep.
So what are you talking about? He can't develop quarterback. He turned Matt Schaub into a Pro Bowler in Houston.
That's right.
He gave Matt Ryan his only MVP season. What are you talking about?
That's it.
What are you talking about? He develops quarterbacks just fine. Just because Trey Lance didn't work out, but Trey Lance didn't work out in Dallas either.
Right. And I'm completely with you, Matt. I'm going to back you on this 1,000%, bro. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It just we have to accept it for what it is. Now, to Matt's point, we got to stop bickering on do we want Purdy or do we want Mac Jones?
Yeah, it doesn't
We're
matter.
going to get the same results.
It's irrelevant.
We are going to get the same fucking results, guys. And so
Right.
let's put that quarterback controversy bullshit to bed. I don't care who they run out there. I really, really don't. It does not make a difference. And Zach, I would love to hear your opinion. You're the only one. Matt and I are officially on the same page.
Right.
I want to hear your perspective on it.
Wait. We got, man, some of these people in the comment those are shit players, dude. There's only so much you can develop those guys.
And even still, they won games in impressive fashion.
He got more out of them than
like,
other
what are y'all
people
talking
would
about?
have. They
didn't go anywhere and get better. Right.
Exactly. And that's the thing. By the way, Jimmy Garoppolo took this team to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game in different seasons, and he goes to the Raiders, and within like 10 games, he's benched, and can't sniff the fucking field.
Has Devontae Adams questioning life. I think that for this, when I'm watching Mac play, my only question in my brain is there really like $100 million difference between him and Brock Purdy? Like, they just paid Brock Purdy, and I'll be honest, I think he earned the contract. I think he put enough good tape out there for the 49ers. That's a market rate contract for him. Fine. But then you see Mac Jones come in here. The Niners are 6-4. They are 6-3 with Mac, I want to say, or no, 5-3 with Mac, because Purdy's 1-1.
5-3.
Yeah.
5-3 with Mac.
He's playing good enough football to where, like, the quarterback would not be the storyline as to why the season goes off the rails for the 49ers. Now, if Mac gets hurt, knock on wood, but then obviously but I don't think that he's played poorly enough to where he could be like, oh, there's the giant step down from Brock Purdy to Mac Jones. Now, he was a first-round pick. He's clearly talented enough. He's a good quarterback. He's great processor, has a good deep ball, good touch. He's accurate. But I just don't see the difference in they're paying. It's like paying $150 for a steak, and then you go to Applebee's and you're like, well, shit, this is kind of similar. You know, like the steak was good, but like the one that was a fifth of the price really wasn't that much worse. And I think that kind of makes the 49ers question this going forward. I do think that, like Kyle has said, they're going to go Brock to Brock no matter what. Maybe they try and flip Mac this offseason. But
here's Mac Jones numbers over the course of a 17-game season. If you extrapolated it out, he would have 69.5% completion, which is what he's currently sitting at. He'd have 4,570 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. Like, where's the drop off? Same.
This is not a knock on anyone else that we're talking about. I really hope people receive this the right way. We're not discrediting anybody. We're saying that it's the same results at the quarterback position. So play the fucking guy. And this is why I said, maybe they shouldn't give Brock Purdy the money and let him play it out, right? Like, maybe they shouldn't, right? Yep. What if they didn't, and then someone else comes in and does what they're doing, right? Do they say he's not the guy, he is the guy? Do we lose Brock Purdy? Maybe, but the backup guy would have come in here and you guys would have been just as happy. That's the issue.
Here's the other issue as well, is now we're encroaching on territory where there are some real limitations to Brock Purdy that he can't overcome. Look at his track record in the NFL. He has elbow injury right off rip. Last year, he missed a couple games with concussions. This year, he's missed games with the turf toe. He is a small stature quarterback that plays the game in a way that's going to get him hit, which means he's going to get hurt. And when you're already behind the 8 ball in terms of your physical ability, becoming injured does not help you. Age is going to catch up quick with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson because of how much punishment he's taken. But Lamar Jackson has so many physical gifts that he's going to be able to extend his career beyond where especially now that he's been able to develop his passing. But Brock Purdy, who is already physically limited, that wall is going to smack him right in the face. And it's not going to be pretty. So it's like, you got to look at it and be fair. And I'm always taking in new information, and I'm always, looking at the situation as it is. Like, the difference between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones is negligible. to me in this offense.
Joe Boyd says Mac Jones couldn't even beat a bad Houston Texans team. Shows that Mac's really back up. They have
that's game though. That's game though.
The Texans do not have a bad defense. They had like literally a top ranked defense, top edge rushers, top corners.
But that game was.
Listen, Josh Allen just got bitch slapped by the Buffalo Bills today. Does that make Josh Allen a backup quarterback?
By the Miami Dolphins.
That's stupid. Yeah. That's stupid. Buffalo got smashed. And that doesn't make him a bad quarterback. It means he had a bad game, dude. Like, doing that is so, like, that's cherry picking.
Yeah, forget the rest of the Texans defense. That defensive line versus our offensive line was a mismatch from start to finish. Like, they were +5 in whatever ranking you want to put it. So we were at a disadvantage there. So it didn't matter who the quarterback was. Brock Purdy would have been under duress that entire game. And
Mac Jones
the
is
same
sitting
thing
near
for that
100.
fucking Jaguars game. Yeah.
Yeah. Mac Jones is sitting near 100 quarterback rating for the season.
Right. The only reason I was against Purdy going in on that Jaguars game was because it was going to extend his injury window.
Right.
That's the only reason. It wasn't about whether or not I thought he could win that game. It wasn't worth risking further injury. That was my only gripe against it. That was it. So that was all I was talking about. And you hear Kyle Shanahan go to the podium this week and say the same things. We shouldn't have rushed him back against the Jaguars. Kyle, thanks for owning it. Thanks for letting me know I was right.
Wait.
Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Put up Niner Goats. I'll put it up. This is not true. Mac Jones is showing you that this is not true. Because if Kyle Shanahan gets this team to the playoffs with Brock Purdy missing more than half the season, he's not tied to Brock for shit. Matt Mayoko, I think it was Matt Mayoko or Tim Kawakami, basically said that Shanahan has as much time and as much leeway as he needs. He essentially has a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
That, like, he's not going anywhere. Dude's made 2 Super Bowls and 4 NFC championship games with this team. He's already a legacy here. He is, I mean, listen, if you want to do it by Super Bowl winners, that's fine. But once you get outside of Walsh and Seifert, he's the most successful coach this team has ever had.
Better than Harbaugh. Better than fucking.
Better than Mariucci.
Better than. Not Seifert. I won't say Seifert. My bad. What's the other guy? There's one more name I'm missing. It's Harbaugh, Mariucci, Nolan, Singletary.
Nolan
all of them.
Singletary were trash, but yeah.
Line them all up.
Chip Kelly,
just
trash.
barely edges out Chip. Yeah.
Jim Tom Sula, trash.
Jim Tom Sula.
Yeah.
Like you guys got to stop it, and you got to take the bias out of it here. Kyle Shanahan's not going anywhere until he decides he wants to move on.
And by the way, even if these quarterbacks suck, that means that Kyle is getting more out of shitty players than other coaches would. And you can knock him for being not the best talent evaluator. That's fine. But guess what? It's not necessarily his job to be a talent evaluator. That's what the scouts and the general manager are for. If you think that those guys should have, like, otherwise, why is John Lynch on this squad? Why does he have a job? If he's not evaluating talent and doing his job, what's his role? What are the scouts' role? What are they doing during the season? College football is going on right now. Kyle Shanahan's not watching college football games right now. Yeah. That's the scouts' jobs. That's the area scouts. That's the national scouts. They're going to these different games. They're evaluating the talent, and then they put together a book or like a report for Kyle in the offseason when Kyle actually has time to look at it. By the way, Kyle is still working with free agents and stuff too. It's not just college immediately right after. So maybe they need to look at their scouts and do something there.
They said in this game that the Niners have 29 players not playing in this game. 29 players. I want to inform you guys, there's only 22 starters on an NFL team.
Yeah.
The Niners don't have 29 players playing in this game against one of the best teams in the NFL. So I don't know what the fuck you guys are expecting out here. And to get back to this game, more on Robert Saleh than it is on Kyle Shanahan. And I can't wait for us to break that down. Robert Saleh absolutely shit the bed schematically. Forget the players.
Oh, my
for
God,
a second.
yeah.
Schematically, Robert Saleh shit the bed, and that's what we should be upset about in this game.
I have one more take on this quarterback situation. We can move on. We've said, and we've heard people say too, well, we haven't even seen Mac, with a full trio of Kittle, Ayuk, Pearsall, Debo when Debo was here. Like, I'm Team Brock. I think Brock is a good quarterback. I think the Niners can win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. But we saw last year when Brock didn't have the surrounding cast, he played well individually. I thought his stats were fine, but he couldn't elevate the team to get the victories. Where Mac has been able to do that with a less than stellar cast this year. I mean, Kendrick Bourne, Sky Moore, Juwan Jennings, Marcus Valdez-Scantling for a bit. Like, those are the guys that are going out there, and he didn't even have Kittle up until a couple of weeks ago. And the offense is, like, humming for the
100%.
most part. Like, it's looking good. I have one other question for you guys before we move on to the defense. Today, the offensive line actually looked okay. And the Niners finished with Brian Robinson as the leading rusher, and he had, I just had it up right here, 8 carries for 41 yards, averaging 5.1 per carry. McCaffrey, 12 carries for 30 yards, averaged 2.5. Is it time to maybe have Brian Robinson as the lead back and still sprinkle in McCaffrey carries, still use McCaffrey as they do as a receiver? Use both of them at the same time?
I would say you could use them at the same time, but like, listen, McCaffrey is, I still think McCaffrey's the better player. Like, easily clears Brian Robinson. Okay. The problem is that it becomes too predictable. There's not enough of this swapping. Right. Rather than, Christian McCaffrey gets 6 carries to Brian Robinson's 1, it should be like McCaffrey is in for these 3 plays and then Robinson comes in for 2 plays. I actually thought towards the end when Brian Robinson actually got his touchdown, that drive was a perfect way to use both of them because both of them took turns. When Brian Robinson got like 2 or 3 plays in a row and was able to get them a first down, then McCaffrey comes back in and what happens? He does like a Texas route out of the backfield and is able to get the first down to get first and goal. And then what do? You go back to Brian Robinson, who rushes it in for a touchdown. And that's like a great way to use them. You use them in conjunction with each other and complementary to each other. But if you just keep Christian McCaffrey in there for, 17, 18 snaps in a row, everybody and their mother knows on 2nd and 3, because of the way that the analytics work out, you're handing that ball off to Christian McCaffrey. And then that's when you see the offensive line get blown up because everybody's selling out for the run. So I don't think Christian's 2.5 is as much on Christian McCaffrey as it is on Kyle Shanahan and by extension, the run blocking, because everybody knows what's coming. It's very predictable. We can all sit there and call it, right? I'm sure if I joined Mike on the Patreon and we sat there and like, hey, Mike, what do you think is happening? I bet you we'd both call out, run to Christian McCaffrey right here because it's, whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I bet you we could do that all fucking game. And if we can do that, you can damn sure bet that NFL defensive coordinators can do it.
Defensive coordinator, you can, yeah. And so to both of your guys' point, I think that it goes back to what Zach said at the very end of his question and to what Matt started with. Maybe take Juice off the field and put 2 of those backs in the backfield at the same time, right? What happens if you start a play? Because let me tell you a secret. Nobody knows this apparently. McCaffrey and Robinson can both block also, right? So forget who's a better pass catcher. What if you start with both those guys in the backfield at the same time, one guy playing fullback? What if they're both next to each other and you don't know which one is the fullback, which is one is the leading blocker? And then before you snap the ball, you send McCaffrey out wide. Now what do? McCaffrey goes out wide, right? You got a linebacker going to him and a safety just in case because he's usually going to make the first guy miss. And then Robinson has an easier carry, right? Start putting them in the field at the same damn time. I don't know why Kyle refuses to implement this in his offense. He won't freaking do it. Put them both on the field at the same time. We just haven't seen it. And I'm telling you guys, it'll be successful. I don't know why this is so hard for Kyle Shanahan to wrap his brain around. It's absolutely killing me. You know what I'm saying? This is what happened. Look, Will Chrisley. There it is right there. Like when Walsh had Craig and Tyler in the back. Like, do it. Just fucking do it, bro. You can have a guy that's listed as a fullback or the second running back, and he can still be really good and productive for you. Just do it, bro. Kyle refuses to do it. This comes down to play calling and scheme. I promise you guys that we'll be just as successful whether or not Kyle Juszczyk is out there. There's nothing that Kyle Juszczyk can do with the ball in his hands that Brian Robinson can't do. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. So give these guys the opportunity. They're both built for it. They both can block and be the lead back or lead block if you ask them to do it. I promise you they can do it for the other guy. And then if you move one guy to the outside, teams are going to be like, oh, shit, we've never seen it, especially at this point in the season. Here we are at 6-4, 10 games into the season. Have you guys seen McCaffrey and Robinson in the backfield more than 3 times this year? I haven't. No. They won't know what to do. They won't know what to expect. Just fucking do it, dude. Like, get your head out of your ass and run these guys out there.
And think about the offensive plays you can get by running to, like, if you have both running backs in the backfield, you know what I mean? If you're running, a dual set, and then what if you check and release them? What if you run like dual screens? What if you run? Now all of a sudden it's like, now the defense is just like, well, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen because they're both
exactly.
And sometimes Brian Robinson gets the ball, and sometimes Christian McCaffrey gets the ball.
That same 2nd and 3 scenario you said
more. But, like, I can't sell based off of, like, a 60-40 split. I have to maintain integrity. And then that opens up the field for a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, listen, the Rams carved us up in 13 personnel today. They had 4 tight ends out on the field multiple times and just ate our shit. They were like, hey, your lunch? Nuh-uh, fuck you, buddy. My lunch.
Right.
And
that
so
same second.
They're showing you what happens when you adapt. Sean McVay saw the first game where they didn't run a ton of 13 personnel, looked at this game and was like, no, I'm going to run more of this because I feel like we can bully them a little bit.
Yep, and they took advantage of it. They found the mismatches with their tight ends and all that, and they took full advantage of it. That same 2nd and 3 set that Matt was talking about where we know what's going to McCaffrey, what if both of them are back there? Just what if? Entertain it for a second. Let's just see what happens, bro. Let's just see how defenses play it. Are they going to lie heavy on Christian McCaffrey's being the guy because he's been the guy? Cool, then give it to Robinson, right? Like, let's just see what happens. Kyle, for whatever reason, just won't do it. And we've got to stop this. We have 2 talented backs. Both of these guys can catch passes. Now, Christian McCaffrey is a better route runner. Let's not make any mistake about what we're saying here. Christian McCaffrey is the better overall back. Christian McCaffrey is the better running back. He's a better pass catcher. He's a better route runner. I'm not taking that away from him. But if you put them both out there, Robinson's good too. He's a good route runner. He's a good pass catcher also. And both of these guys can be the lead blocker if you ask them to. So put them both there at the same time and let defenses sweat a little bit. Just give them a half a second of hesitation. That's what we need. We need to create that derision, the division, whatever you want to call it, just for a half a second when the linebackers have to declare. Just create a little bit of separation. We won't do it, though. That's what we need to do.
Okay, Mike, I know you wanted to talk about Saleh. This game, this defense. I don't know what to expect with all of the injuries they've had, with Alfred Collins being out, Michael Williams tearing his ACL last week. What did you expect, Mike? Because I know you had some comments. I think that they could have done better with the coaching, but give me your take. Let's hear it.
Here's the truth of the matter. Put Mike, Matt, and Zach out there on the field at whatever position you want. Have your corners on a 2nd and 3rd or 2nd and 3, 4th and 3. Jam these guys, right? 2nd and goal, Devontae Adams mismatched against a safety. Forget that for a second. That's already a mismatch. Jam him at the line, bro. It's 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. Hit him and disrupt him. That's what Robert Saleh needs to do. For whatever reason, he refuses to do it. And he is not only is he creating mismatches, right? When they motion Adams over to the left on that touchdown play that he had, the second one. When they motion him to the left, I'm like, oh my God. They got him out there with Mustafa. Mustafa backpedaled. From the snap, he backpedaled. Why are we teaching these guys this? You literally get 5 yards. I've seen, and it's legal, that if you knock a guy on his ass within the first 5 yards, there's no flag. They don't throw that flag in the NFL. Robert Saleh, do you know this? Kyle Shanahan, do you know this? That within the first 5 yards, you can fuck a player up in the first 5 yards. Hit him, disrupt him, and see what happens. You know the worst part about it being Devontae Adams? He's the slowest receiver on their team. It was gold to go. They only had 13 yards to play with. He's not going to beat you deep, even if you miss on the jam. He's not going to beat you deep. Disrupt the play. And they refuse to do it, and I don't understand why. I don't get it. What are they afraid of? Can one of you guys please help me? Maybe I drink too much. I have too much fucking glacier water in my system. Maybe I have too much alcohol in my system. Somebody out there, Matt, Zach, one of you guys, please help me. Why won't we jam anybody? Can you guys please help me? If you are telling me that we're out there playing with replacement level guys in the entire secondary, not named Diamador Lenore, who, by the way, has given up 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, which is more than he's given up in the last 2 seasons combined, right? If you're telling me that, why won't we jam these guys at the line? Why won't we disrupt the timing of what they're doing? Help me.
I'll do you one better. Why do we have Diamador Lenore falling off of coverage when clearly a tight end is his guy? Why is Diamador Lenore on a tight end to begin with? I am so sick and tired of our best corner doesn't follow the best player across the field. That's some bullshit. Stop doing that shit. Stop doing that. By the way, if you have half of your defensive line injured, you can't be giving up no baby shit ass soft cushions. You need to either play man-to-man or you need to play like tight coverage right off rip, because everybody knows what's coming. You don't really blitz. And if you got shit in there trying to blitz and they can't get home to the quarterback, how do you expect the secondary to cover for 5 seconds? By the way, the run game where the Rams just essentially ran it down their throat all day today, that is 100% a scheme issue, because all you have to do as a fucking defensive player to defend the run is fill a gap. Fill a fucking gap. That's all you got to do. How many times did we see with 13 personnel that there was nobody in a gap? There were like 3 Rams offensive linemen and there was 1 defender. And I was like, all right, well, what's happening here? Why are the linebackers so far back? By the way, let me not get started also on the fact that when they're running 13 personnel and you get your base personnel in there, I don't know, maybe take a corner out and put in an extra linebacker or at least a safety. Put in somebody bigger. They're running a big package. What are you worried about? That a tight end is going to fucking run by you? Listen, if your linebackers and safeties can't keep up with a tight end, you're cooked anyway. What are you doing? What are you doing? This to me is the bloom off the rose for Robert Saleh. And this is exactly why he got fired from the Jets. It's exactly the problem that I have with a lot of the coaching that goes on here. My biggest issue. It's the same thing that we just talked about with Kyle Shanahan not using Brian Robinson and Christian McCaffrey at the same time. There is a marriage to their former ideas and the fact that they think they know better than everybody. And they don't. They're not, Saleh especially, is not adjusting to the loss of personnel. He's not going in there saying, was it a secret what the Rams were going to do today? It was no secret. It was no secret that Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams were going to be able to route you up left and right. And what happened? Oh, let's just play 10 yards off the line. And Brady made it a point to be like, it looks like they've tightened up. And it's like, yeah, you're already down 21-0. Like, where was that shit right off rip when they took you down the field in the first drive? You should have been like, all right, tighten the belt, dude. Like, we got to get closer. We got to jam these guys. How about disguising some shit? How about if you see Malik Mustafa in the flat or whatever, maybe try running like zone down there and having them swap off. Maybe educate your corners to be like, hey, look, Devontae Adams in the slot. There's an outside receiver. Chances are that Devontae Adams is going to head to the back pylon while this guy tries to pick you with a slant. Because that's exactly what I thought when I saw it, and that's exactly what fucking happened. And what did Malik Mustafa do? He went to turn inside, like Devontae Adams was going to run inside towards the upright. That to me is poor coaching. How many missed tackles did we see today? Arm tackles, bullshit effort. Where is Saleh's adjustment as this allegedly great defensive coordinator that we wanted to bring back? Piss poor effort, piss poor coaching. He got fucking exposed today. And I don't care. People could be like, well, the 49ers are injured. I don't give a shit. It's the NFL. They were so injured that they gave up 400 yards of offense and gave up 42 points. There was enough injuries to excuse that? I don't think so. 4.2 yards per carry to the running backs. Know what I'm saying? And that's even accounting with Matthew Stafford accounting for -3 rushing yards today. Kyron Williams, 14 carries, 73 yards for a 5.2 average and 2 touchdowns. Blake Corum, 13 carries, 56 yards for a 4.3. That's acceptable to you? And that's run fitting. That's run fitting. That's day one shit. That's high school shit. C gap, hit gap. That's it. That's all you got to do as a defensive lineman defending the run. That's it. Piss poor effort. Total schematic failure. Terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible. Bloom is off the roast for Saleh. He needs to adjust or he can get the fuck out.
I love
Mike?
it. Saleh went from being the fucking hero to the reason, right? And again, I didn't expect this to win this game, but look competitive, right? Like die on your shield. I'm 100% with Matt on this and everything that he just said. Like, dude, where were the adjustments? The first 3 or 4 games, we saw really good second half adjustments from Robert Saleh. It's been gone the last 5 games, guys. I'm telling you something. It's been gone. I'm like, all right, maybe it was this team, maybe it was that team. No. There's no reason from that Texans game, Jaguar. There's no he has sucked in second half adjustments.
Yep.
It's been absolutely terrible. And so you're getting paid way too much money. They made it a point they didn't tell us the dollars. Robert Saleh is the highest paid coordinator in the NFL now. The Niners went out there and got their guy back, but maybe that check is making you too comfortable. Shake it up a little bit, bro.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing over and over, it's just not working. It's not it.
D-Mac, I disagree. It's literally rookies and third stringers out there. You can only do so much. You know what you can do? Not play baby soft shit coverage, zone coverage, giving them 8 yards and free releases off the ball when you know your pass rush is not going to get home. That's not a player issue. That's not a personnel issue. That's a fucking scheme issue. So
it's
miss
the
me
free
with that
releases.
shit.
It's the free releases going into zone that are exposing this Niners defense. You're giving them free releases.
100%.
You're backpedaling. It's 3rd and 5. Our guys are lined up 6 yards off the line of scrimmage before the snap. They snap the ball and you backpedal. And then you're not even playing man. You're playing zone. So it's not like they're following the guy. They're like, oh, passing them off, and they're wide open in the middle of the fucking field. Enough already.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of 2018 where we all wanted to kill him because he would throw defensive ends into fucking coverage. Remember that shit? Or he would do the thing where he would have 3 down linemen and like fucking 8 dudes standing by the first down marker.
Solomon Thomas dropping back in coverage. What the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Enough already.
This is what that reminds me of. And there's no discipline. Why are we missing so many tackles? Why are we committing so many penalties? Like Tatum Bethune today got a fucking Dre Greenlaw special.
Right.
What are we doing? What are we doing with that? You know,
And
people in the chat were like mad about it, and I'm like, dude, that's a great flag. He was like 3 steps out of bounds before he got hit, and he led with his head. Like, what do you want him to do?
He dove helmet first and all that stuff. The contact is questionable, but that's not what the refs see. The refs see the attempt. The refs see what you tried to do, and that's going to be a flag every fucking time.
Yep, 100%.
That's it. So did I like the flag? No. It's slow motion, and it was like, oh no.
Or like,
but real speed, it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Or like, how many times did we have the running back pieced up and like instead of wrapping, they do that fucking shoulder check shit.
Shoulder throw. Come on, man.
Stop with that shit. Wrap somebody up. Hold him until somebody else can give him the shoulder thing, dude. Like, what the fuck is the issue?
Right.
You know, it's terrible. It's terrible.
And that's and again, that's less about the players and more about
the coaching
and what they're being told to do. I don't think anymore that it's the other 14 players on defense that we're running out there. It can't be that. It has to be coaching, and it's wrong. Right. It is the wrong thing to coach and teach over and over. It's no longer about the players, guys.
Yeah, the thing with Robert Saleh, he's always been bend, don't break, bend, don't break. Well, yeah, that works when you have a Nick Bosa and a Fred Warner out there because the margins are larger for you to do that because they can make that up. But when you have all these injuries and the margins get razor thin, you can't afford these schematic mistakes, these coaching mistakes that is ingrained into the team. You're going to see this all over the place. We saw it in New York. We're seeing it here. And Saleh doesn't have the same horses that he did in 2019 when they went to the Super Bowl, where they had a legendary. I mean, think about the team that they had with that. We like think about the secondary for a second on that team. You had a healthy Jason Verrett who was playing like a first-round stud. You had Richard Sherman, who was still really effective. You had K'Wan Williams, who was the best slot corner in the NFL. You have Jimmy Ward and Jaquaski Tart, who were both really, really good. Oh, by the way, that's before you get up front where you had Fred Warner finally coming into his own. You had Azeez Al-Shire, who was your third best because Dre Greenlaw was coming up. You know what I mean? Not to mention that you had Nick Bosa over there.
D Ford.
Right?
Come on. Keep going. Bro, the list
D
doesn't
Ford.
fucking stop.
You had Eric Armstead and was Buckner still here in 2019?
Buckner was still here. Come on,
Buckner
bro.
was still here?
It don't fucking stop.
That, honestly, on paper, that's one of the best defenses that I've fucking seen. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have that now. So,
yep.
No, 2019 was Verrett's only healthy season here because then he tore his ACL against the Lions in the game of the season in 2020. Remember, it was revenge tour and then everybody got fucking injured?
Sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly, I do remember that. Yeah. So next week, the 49ers have the Arizona Cardinals, who got equally beat belt to ass by the Seattle Seahawks today. What was the final score in that game? It was, let me tell you real quick. Seattle 44 to Arizona's 22. Looks like Zay Jones, the receiver, tore his Achilles, so he'll probably be out next week when the 49ers host the Cardinals. This one's on the road in Arizona. The best thing for the 49ers and this young team, with I say young due to all the injuries, is the schedule. And they still have some very winnable games coming up. They go to they go to Arizona, and then they host the Panthers on Monday night the week after. They go to Cleveland, which is a winnable game, even though they can't seem to win in Cleveland. And then they come back and host Tennessee. The next 4 games, at Cardinals, home versus the Panthers on Monday night, at Cleveland, home versus the Titans. There's no reason why they shouldn't be 10-4 when we look back in a month. There's no reason. So 10-4 for this team with all the injuries, we'd all take that. I think that's great.
10 wins in the NFC makes the playoffs.
Yes, 100%. And after that, they have the Colts, Bears, and Seahawks. If they can win out of those 3.
The Colts are starting to fall back down to earth. Don't let that win today fool you. But Daniel Jones is starting to look like shit.
Yeah. Yep. He's turning back to
the Bears are worse than what everybody expected them to be with Ben Johnson. Like Caleb Williams is still a disaster. They're not great either. This team still has the ability to make the playoffs. And Kyle Shanahan told you again, by virtue of that Tim Kawakami interview in July, that like 25 was all about getting the young guys up to speed so that they can make a real run in 26.
Yeah. So
like if they make the divisional, like that's a great season for these guys. And then you think about all the horses that they get back, and you just got to figure out, people are in here calling for Kyle Shanahan's job. Dude, he's way down on the list. If you want to talk about that, you want to talk about lack of talent. Okay, fine. Scouting. You want to talk about all the injuries? Fine. You got to figure out why everybody's getting injured. Strength and conditioning, doctors, I don't give a shit. Like, figure it out. You know what I mean? But Kyle Shanahan's far down that list. And if you can get a healthy season out of everybody, like 26 might be the year.
Yeah. And I like this question here by Follower of Christ, right? So do you guys believe in Lynch and Shanahan's ability to draft? I do. These last 2 drafts, they have shown us that these guys can fucking play in the NFL. Now, here's the difference, right? It's the turnover. It's how many of the star players are not there anymore. But these replacement level players are coming in and they're playing their asses off. It doesn't look like it because of the win-loss and the missed tackles and all that stuff, right? But let's be honest for a second. Is Gifford and Bethune expected to be on the field at the same time with Winters, right? Like, no, that's not what's supposed to be. Right? Is it supposed to be Alfred Collins and Michael Williams and C.J. West on the defensive line? No. Those guys are supposed to be rotational, not starters. So let's be clear with what we're looking at here. These guys aren't supposed to be the guys. They're supposed to be guys. There's a difference. And so when you get everybody else back and these guys are rotating and they're contributing to a starting team, absolutely. Absolutely. These guys have done it. They're doing it. I like Bethune. Let me be clear here. When Bethune went down for those couple of plays, that series, I was like, geez, man. Oh, man, this game is over. I thought this game was over. I thought it was over before it started. But, like, at that point, I was like, yeah, they're going to win by 20. Like, it's over. So, yeah, these guys can come in. They can play, right? They're doing a really good job with drafting talent. Now they got to put the talent on the field. And this goes back to what we were saying about Nick Martin. Your fastest linebacker isn't seeing the field for Gifford? For fucking Gifford? Like, what are we talking about? So, yeah. And by the way, I got Niners winning 4 of the next 5. Easily. Despite Robert Saleh and how he calls defense. I got Niners winning 4 of the next 5.
I don't think that John Lynch would be fired this year, even if the 49ers finish with a losing record. I just don't see it. And I agree with you, Mike. I think that this fans want to look at like that 2-year stretch where the Niners drafted nobody. Like Brock Purdy was the only good pick out of like 2 complete draft classes. But look outside of that. I mean, Fred Warner was drafted. Nick Bosa was drafted. Look at who's starting on defense aside from the injuries, but Malik Mustafa, Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore, Tatum Bethune. All these guys were drafted. The young defensive linemen looked good. Michael looked good before going down. CJ West had a splash play today. Kalia Davis looks good. He was drafted. D. Winters was drafted. Juwan Jennings was drafted. Ricky Pearsall was drafted. I'm not going to say Jair Brown. I'm just kidding. These guys can play. Like, they draft players that can play. And for some reason, 2 bad draft classes makes fans think that, like, the Niners have, like, a 2% hit rate. When that's not the case. Like, it really isn't the case. Yeah, Christian, over this regime's tenure, the hit rate on the first 2 rounds is 30%. I think the average is, like, close to 40. And that, you took away 2 additional first-round picks. If they have 2 more first-round picks that they traded for Trey Lance, maybe that number goes up.
How are we getting to the 30%? I have it at like 40%. We can go through them.
Yeah, might as well.
You know what? Let's go ahead and do it.
I know Solomon Thomas is the first one.
Okay, let's go through it.
Who is still active in the NFL?
Yep.
All right, so we have we start with 2017.
Right. So you got Solomon Thomas and you got the linebacker.
And Reuben Foster.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Both great talent. Good
Both talented. They didn't work out here. Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey is not a miss, as much as you would like to say it, not a miss. Nick Bosa. Javon Kinlaw does not look like a miss. He's actually turned into a pretty decent player. Brandon Ayuk, obviously. Trey Lance is their biggest whiff. Then you have Ricky Pearsall, who, again, too early to tell, but looks like a player. And then Michael Williams, too early to tell. So where's the 30%?
Or we got one guy?
I mean, I would say Solomon Thomas is still playing in the NFL, but he's not very good. So I would say Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, and Trey Lance. And then you have people who are still starters and contributing in this league. You have Mike McGlinchey, Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Brandon Ayuk, and then Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, so Reuben Foster is the only questionable player.
And Reuben Foster wasn't necessarily a talent issue. It was a character issue, and then he got injured. He had a severe injury.
So you got Reuben Foster and Trey Lance. Out of, 7 guys?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Fuck out.
If you're not, 7 guys if you don't count Pearsall and Michael Williams.
So Christian got the 30% number.
If you count them.
Basically, if they didn't get a second contract with the Niners, it looks like that's where you got them.
Which, listen, McGlinchey priced himself out of a second contract with the 49ers. They were never going to pay what he got from Denver. That's not a talent issue. That doesn't mean he whatever. They couldn't afford to.
It counts as a hit.
Right.
It counts as a hit.
He started every season he was here.
Yeah. And he started when he left.
And he started with the Broncos every season he's been there.
Still
right.
Starting
he's still
to this
a starter.
Day.
It's a fucking
By the way,
hit. The Niners do good in the
NFL
first
hit
2
rate
rounds.
on first round picks is like 47%.
So you guys gotta throw that out. I get it. We're close to the situation. We're looking at it under a microscope. They're not here. They're not playing. That doesn't mean anything. That means we couldn't afford them later on.
Now
That's
we can
what that
talk
means.
about second and third round picks. You might have an argument there. That's going to be their problem round, second and third round.
Right.
But even then, you get a future Hall of Famer in Fred Warner out of the third round. You got Deebo Samuel out of the second round. That's a good hit. That's a good pick. So
Renardo Green, I think, was like a 3rd round pick. Could be
Renardo
wrong.
Green was 2nd round.
2nd round.
No,
Lenore
Moody was a miss.
4th
Joe
pick.
Williams was a miss.
Yes.
CJ Beathard was a miss. 3rd round seems to be their worst round for sure. Fred Warner notwithstanding.
I just think that there are plenty of, and somebody said, you can't have 2 draft classes full of duds if you want to be competitive. Well, they did, and they are. Like they did have 2 draft classes full of duds. Did it set them back? 100%.
Yeah.
But they're still competitive. Like they had those misses
Right.
and still went to the playoffs, still went to the Super Bowl. Like I would argue the 2-year stretch of not having a 1st round pick hurt them way more than the 2-year stretch of not having any of these picks hit.
Kinlaw gone,
And
Sullivan gone, Foster gone, Trey gone. Ricky doesn't stay injured. Ricky has 1 football injury.
Right.
This PCL. It's his 1 football injury. Missed 0 games in college and then was shot, which is not a football injury.
Right.
Like get out of here with
That's
that
like
shit.
counting a death. of a
Kinlaw
player against the team.
starts for the Washington Commanders. I'll give you Solomon Thomas.
Started
I'll
for
give
the
you
Jets,
Foster, and I'll
too.
give you Trey. But then I'll match you with McGlinchey, Bosa, Ayuk.
Mm-hmm.
Where we at? McGlinchey was not a miss, bro. This guy's saying McGlinchey's a miss. McGlinchey was not a miss. He's been a starter every single season in the NFL.
Yes.
McGlinchey
He's
would
never
still
not
be
been a
here
starter.
if the 49ers could have afforded him.
Right.
He would still be here.
Right.
And
Just like, by the way, how many linemen did they lose this past year? We lost our swing tackle to the Chiefs.
Backup
Right.
left tackle.
Backup left tackle. Like,
Starting left guard or right guard
Yep.
in Aaron Banks or
yep.
left guard. Yeah.
yeah, so like
They all got
what are we
lucrative
complaining
contracts.
about? Right. So the Niners just couldn't afford to continue to pay those guys. Those aren't misses because they're not here. They went on to other teams and got big contracts. So we got to really compartmentalize what we're talking about, and to factor all of this into one big bubble. The Niners were loaded. We had the best roster in the NFL for 2.5 years straight. So those guys weren't likely to make the roster in the first place, and they did, and went on to get bigger deals.
Well,
So we
okay.
can't sit here and say that.
That's
Niner
what-
Coach,
ahead.
this is how we'll define it. He says we have to define what's a hit. If you are still in the NFL and you're starting, you're a hit. Easy.
Mm-hmm. And Mike, I think a lot of people forget how loaded that class was. Like Jake Moody, they should be flamed for that, rightfully so.
100%.
But let's just teleport back to that time period. Kicker was their biggest position in need. Like, it arguably was. Now, should they have taken him in the 3rd? No. But they addressed what they felt like was their biggest position in need, and it was a miss. Like, Moody, talented, yes, mentally was not there. Was not prepared to enter the NFL and deal with those levels of stress.
Right.
So,
And to be fair, he was just coming off of a season where he went 15-0 and they won a national championship at Michigan,
yeah.
where
And
he
the-
hit
and the
multiple
historically good
kicks
season.
from the wider hashes of college. So you're like, oh, that'll translate.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
And
it
the
looks
team-
bad for sure.
The team was so loaded that it didn't matter what position we drafted. They weren't going to be starters on this team. Like, that's another thing that 49er fans often ignore. Our roster was so good that it didn't matter who we drafted and where. They weren't going to make the starting roster. Right. So you guys were going to be disappointed no matter what. Imagine drafting a first-round guy and being like, oh, well, he's a backup. He's a replacement-level guy. That's what we were dealing with at that time. That's literally where we were. So, it is what it is.
They were just coming off of an NFC Championship game berth, and they took a swing. That's how it is, man.
Mike, you have a question for Father of Christ. We'd love to hear your take on this. So do you think we're on the right track with the retooling like the Rams did a couple of years ago?
I do. A lot of people want to credit this Fisk and Verse thing with the Rams and all that, right? I think the Niners are there, right? You got the C.J. West and Alfred Collins and the Michael Williams, right? Like they are in that same exact position. That's just this draft class. That's just this most recent one. The Niners have gone out and they have drafted guys to come in here and play. I mean, I'm not talking about Winters, who looks like a solid player, right? I'm not talking about Bethune, who looks like a solid player. These guys are all out here and they're doing their thing. They're not all pros, right? They may not get Pro Bowl nods, but these guys are playing well. Let the Niners make the postseason and watch how that Pro Bowl voting changes, right? A lot of people are forgetting because of where we are and what division we're in. If we were in any other division, we'd be either tied for first or in first. If we were in any other division, the NFC West is the only division in the NFC with 3 teams with 6 or more wins. I'm not making this up. That's a fact. It's the only team with this many wins in the division. The only team. And we're doing it with replacement level players at our superstar positions since week 3.
Mm-hmm.
Since week 3 and no quarterback. Forget everything else. No quarterback since week 3. And we're sitting here and we got 6 wins. There's not another team in the entire NFL that can say that. There's not one team in the NFL that can say it. And you guys want to be, woe is me, and we want to cry because we just lost to the Rams. Man, fuck the Rams and fuck this game. Fuck this game. Fuck the Houston Texans. Fuck the Jaguars. Okay, we lost 2 games in the AFC. Cool, I'm with you guys. Should we have beat those guys? I'm with you guys on one of them for sure. I'm not going to say which one. Yeah, we should have beat them. We didn't. That's cool. Every team is going to lose games that they shouldn't lose. The Buffalo Bills just lost to the bum-ass Miami Dolphins. That happened today. That happened today, guys.
Not even lost. Today. They lost by 17 points.
I mean, they got whooped. It was not close.
More than what the Niners lost by today, by the way. More than what the Niners lost by today. That's how division games go.
No, we lost by more.
We lost by 16, didn't we?
We lost by 22. Oh, wait, no, you're
42,
right.
26.
I thought it was 48. Never mind. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, no, we lost by 16. They lost by more than what we did today. Against a team far worse than what the fucking Rams are, is my point.
Yeah.
And so don't sit here and be like, oh, no, the Niners suck, No, guys, we're doing this with replacement level players at every major position. Linebacker, edge rusher, quarterback. Like the only position that is not – receiver, The only position that's not it are corner and running back. Those are the only 2 positions that we have our starters in. And you guys want to sit here and now tight end. Now tight end. Because we did play games without George Kittle.
Yep.
Right? You guys want to sit here and say, woe is me. Guys, you're fucking wrong. The Niners are in a place to not only rebound, but to come back stronger, better, every single game. The more experience these guys get, Robert Saleh said something in his last presser, and he was talking about how, why isn't this guy in there and why is that guy in there? And it's like, well, we know these guys. We don't really know those guys. Right? And he said it. And Matt talked about it earlier when he talked about why is Martin playing. Zach said the same thing because of special teams. He's given them one little tiny, minute thing over other people. But guess what? Now that we saw how bad Gifford is on defense, which is going to be more snaps than special teams, they're going to make that change. They are going to make the change. You guys got to stop sitting here acting like the sky is falling, right? At worst case scenario, our depth are preparing to become starters. That makes us the most dangerous team in 2026, guys. I'm telling y'all something. That makes us one of the most dangerous teams in 2026 when Fred Warner is back, when Brandon Ayuk is back. You know what I'm saying? Like when Nick Bosa comes back, now all of a sudden you got Mykel Williams coming back. When all these guys come back in 2026, the NFL is going to hate that they let the Niners get this good. They're going to fucking hate it. Now, I don't want to fast forward because even in this season right here with the weakest schedule, again, you can run down the Niners next 5 games. Who's the toughest opponent? The fucking Titans? The Panthers? Huh? Is it the Bears? Like, somebody out there tell me who you're fucking worried about. The Cardinals? It's none of these guys. We're going to smoke all of these teams that we have coming in. And so we're going to reflect, and we're going to be sitting at 10-4, and you're going to be like, man, we were overreacting for no reason. That's what this show is all about. It's about overreacting. Well, it's cool. I get it.
I don't think some of the content creators help that out, by the way. You know, when you're listening to a certain – now, you don't need to straight up blow smoke up the team's ass like some do. But then you also don't have to be the opposite side of the same coin where, oh, this is why they told you that they sold on the 2025 season because they didn't trade for anybody and they don't believe in the locker room and this and this and that. And that's what you get from, you know, the Grant Cohns and whoever else. God, fucking Chase Sr., who's like the most annoying fucking content creator out there at this point in my feed. It's same thing over and over and over again. Oh, this is why let's generate a quarterback controversy. You know, people out there going like, people think we really sit around and create a narrative. It's like, yeah, 100% you do, because you all talk about the same thing. Like, watch the news. The news does it too. Whether you're on CNN or Fox News or whatever, they all parrot the same fucking talking point. They'll say the same buzzwords to get a narrative across. That's the same thing with the 49ers content creator. Oh, let's talk about Brock Purdy and Mac Jones today. Oh, let's talk about the fact they didn't make a deadline move and how that means they don't believe in the team. You know, prior to the season, it was like, oh, why are the 49ers selling stake in their team? They don't have any money. What, the team's out of money? You know, it's all the same crap, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Again, people act like the team is 1-8, 2-7, like 6-4 with the amount of injuries that they've had. Like that, this is a playoff team. You know what I mean? Like, they have the full ability to get to the playoffs. So,
all right. With that said, I think we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
Good show tonight,
Real quick,
guys.
I got one example for you, follower of Christ. He said, let's agree to disagree. My definition of a miss is if the guy is on a second contract somewhere else than where they were drafted, then it's a miss. My argument to that is DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner is my argument to that. The 49ers didn't extend him, and they made a purposeful choice between him and Eric Armstead, and they chose wrong. That doesn't mean that Buckner's a miss. That means the 49ers made a bad decision. So that would be my argument to that. But yeah, like, guys, listen, it's going to be fine. I kind of had a feeling this game was going to go bad. I know on the previous show, I think we all picked the 49ers. That's a touch of homerism from us, because we want to be positive, right? Because sometimes if we keep it too real, you guys get upset. Like, oh, why are you guys just like all positive about the team? You think you can't do any wrong? So we're trying to help you guys out. But listen, you have to take into account it's a week by week basis in the NFL. Any given Sunday, like Mike said, like I said, 100% the Miami Dolphins beat the crap out of the Bills. Are the Miami Dolphins a better team than the Bills? No. Division games are weird too. Division games are always weird. You never know what to expect from division games. So it's just, yeah. It is what it is.
Exactly. All right, Mike, I'm sure the folks already know. Let them know where to find you and find premium 49ers content.
Yeah, guys, come on, take a walk with me, man. Head on over to patreon.com/NB9ERS. That is where we go. We have a ton of fun over there, and we argue, we curse each other out, everything in between over there, during game days especially, but we have a lot of fun, so don't be the last person to join, all right? $5 or higher are the tiers that you need to subscribe to. You can watch the game with us. You can watch the game with me, and we have a lot of fun, all right? I just want to leave you guys with this, all right? Not only are the Niners getting better and healthier for next season, we're getting better for this season, right? I know that you guys are looking at this game and saying, oh, man, Robert Saleh sucked. At least that's my take, right? But let's look at the offensive side of the ball for just 1 second. There are 3 huge names that we are expecting to get back before the end of this season. Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk. Those 3 players are supposed to be coming back, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say some of you guys are down on Spencer Burford. Cool. Barch was back and healthy, just not ready enough to be a starter. Let's say you guys hate Matt Hennessy. Cool. Brindle, back, but not healthy enough to be a starter, right? These guys are coming back. And then when you look at how Kyle uses the players on the offensive side of the ball, CMC, in combo with, because we haven't seen that much, in combo with a Brian Robinson, he's going to learn. He's going to see these things. Kyle Shanahan is going to go back and study the film and be like, damn, like Robinson's better than what I thought he is. He deserves more reps. He's going to find a way to work him into this season, right? And then you flip it to the other side. I'm not saying that we're going to go out there and get Nick Bosa back this season. Maybe not. But what happens if the Niners reach the postseason? Could Nick Bosa make a return? Maybe not, but Fred Warner could, right? Maybe there's a slight chance that Fred Warner could, all right? And then you got all these inexperienced rookies getting valuable reps, valuable snaps that could come out there and help us in the postseason. Guys, we are far and away from just sitting down saying, hey, the season's over. We're not out of it, because there's not a single team in the next 5 games that I'm worried about. I don't care if you're talking about the Colts. I don't care if you're talking about the Panthers. I don't care if you're talking about the Titans. I don't care if you're talking any of those teams. I've gone through the whole litany list of these guys. The Cardinals, I don't give a shit about any of those guys. I got the Niners over all of them because our offense is going to be strong enough to carry us and weigh it out over the defensive woes, right? That's where we are, guys. I'm looking at least 11 wins for the 49ers this season right here. Now, do I think our defense is strong enough to make a deep playoff push? I don't. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to beat around the bush and say, yeah, we can go to the Super Bowl. Cool. No, I don't think that the way we stand currently. The way we stand currently. But with every game comes more experience for the players and the coaches. We've got to just tighten it up. We've got to be better. We've got to be mentally strong enough to understand that there's a lot of people learning on the fly. And I think that's going to pay dividends down the road. Today's game, it hurts. We hate the Rams. We go into Levi South and we kick their ass. We want to win when we come back home. But we didn't. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Again, guys, I want to remind you guys that the Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in the AFC, lost to the bum-ass Miami Dolphins, who can't wait to fire their head coach. They can't wait to fire their head coach. Are y'all telling me that you're afraid of the Carolina Panthers? You're not. Nobody watching this stream right now, as bad as we played today, think that the 49ers can't beat the Panthers. None of y'all. So that means that you guys agree with me that we've got at least 11 wins under our belt this season. Maybe Ruben doesn't agree. I see you, Ruben. I see you. We suck, man. It's cool. I see you. Maybe we do. Right now in this moment. We're going to get better week after week. Tighten up. Batten down the hatches. And get ready for the rest of the season. We haven't even had our bye week. And here's my kicker above everything else from this game. Yeah, we lost. That's true. This is the first time that I can come on an overreaction show and say the Niners had no fucking injuries. Not a single fucking injury. You can't tell me that there's nobody else to get hurt because we're still out there manning teams. There's plenty of opportunities. We got through a game for the first time in the 2025 NFL season without a single injury. Nobody done for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Let's build on that momentum. Small silver lining in the grand scheme of things, but silver lining nonetheless. Let's tighten it up, guys. Let's remember who we cheer for. I don't care if you're a Purdy fan. I don't care if you're a Mac Jones fan. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you guys think that McCaffrey is being used too much and you want to see more Robinson. I don't care if you hate Robinson, only want to see McCaffrey out there. The point is, we got through a game for the first time with no injuries, and we're only going to get better. I promise you guys that today is the low for the remainder of the season. Tighten up and keep on subscribing. If you guys are watching right now on the Nothing But Niners channel, come on over. You see it underneath Zach down there. 49ers Hive. Make sure you guys go over there and subscribe as well. All right. Tomorrow is Miss Debbie's birthday. Tomorrow is my daughter Zara's birthday. We will be live. We'll be breaking down the pressure that Kyle Shanahan has, the phone call where he talks to the people about the game and the injuries that came out after the game and all that nonsense. We'll break all that down. Happy birthday to Miss Debbie. Happy birthday to my daughter Zara. All right. And we're going to be back.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. We got a lot more games to talk about. We're going to be here, guys. Don't give up hope. Be mad right now. Sulk. Be upset. I don't like the way that we lost either. I'm telling you guys that you're justified in how you feel right now in this moment. But don't give up on the rest of the season. The Niners are a playoff team in 2025. I'm telling you guys something. And I'll see you guys once we get to the postseason. I'm done.
There you go.
Okay, beautiful. Happy birthday to both of them.
Absolutely.
Matt, would you do us the honors here?
Yeah, listen, I got one more silver lining for you that Mike didn't even mention. The likelihood that Robert Saleh's defense gives up another 42 points is almost next to none. I would expect some adjustments, and they'll get better. And again, 4 straight, probably 5 straight if you count the Colts, winnable games. So the 49ers could be sitting pretty, and then all this will just be a distant memory. This is the first division loss of the season for the 49ers. It's not like they've just been boat raced. They've already beat all 3 other teams once. They're about to make it twice with the Cardinals. So we'll see you back later this week. We'll do the preview show for the Cardinals. Let this just slide, let the taste wash out of your mouth, and we'll be back and we'll talk about a very winnable game. Okay. So thank you guys for joining us here tonight. For Zach, for Mike, for myself, we love having you here. We couldn't do this without you. And until next time, go Niners.